Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide, Elpy, and this is mixed worm bin. Well, that's mixed worm bin number 2. And these are the castings that we took out of here. Half of the castings that we took out of here a week ago. Today is the 23rd of January 2025, and it has been 6 days since we were last in this bin, and we fed them, and we also concluded that they finished the race to, oh, here's a little worm. Don't worry, buddy, you want to go back there. They finished their pie. There was no more pie. I think actually they more than likely finished their pie before bin 1. Both bin 1 and bin 2 didn't have pie 6 days ago. So anyways, they're done, and these guys now today, yay, we get to finally, after saying I was going to start harvesting this bin in October of 2024, I'm finally there, because all this time, I mean, I know I was making things harder for myself by feeding them large feedings, large wet feedings with fruit. So it was really my own undoing. But you see, this bucket has been sitting for 6 days. Actually, I hope you can see, because I'm looking under my phone, so I don't even know how much my hand's been oh, there's another worm. But look how fluffy this is now. Isn't that great? Yay. Now I'm going to take the rest of the material out of the bin and add new material to that half of the bin. I am going to put the castings we take out today in a separate bin, so that those ones can dry out, because I did feed last time. They got some persimmons, as well as, oh, where'd you go? Another little wormy. There's a small worm. Yeah, which the worms do tend to congregate. Whenever I put the castings in buckets, I always find worms at the bottom. But yeah, so they did get some riced cauliflower, some drier items in the feeding last week, 6 days ago, as well as some persimmons. So these castings, their moisture is fine. I'm totally fine with it. The stuff at the bottom, that's why I'm fluffing it. Could still use a little bit more mixing, but for the most part, these babies are good. So let's go ahead and put that over there. And these guys are going to finally get a bubble mailer. Okay, so I was not paying attention to the fact that I was throwing the worms that I was finding over here, and this is the stuff I'm about to take out. I am going to take 85 to 90% of this out of here, and I think I'm not going to worry about the chunks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to worry about the chunks some other time when I'm fluffing the bin like you just saw me doing. So I'll probably go ahead and let's just kind of look around here, see what the texture's like. And I see the worms have moved into here a little bit more than they had been. So I'm not gonna worry about them so much, because like you just saw, I'll fish them out later. So yeah, they're still kind of got some muddiness. and I love it when, I always love it. If you don't know, how I harvest is, I harvest one half of the material of the bin, and as in I take the castings out, and then I add new material to, I take it out. I don't take 100% of the castings out. There's quite a few worms in here. And I put in new material, and then I let the worms get used to that for at least a couple of weeks. My intention is just a couple of weeks, but I can, more often than not, it winds up being longer than that. This is a 2-gallon bucket, by the way, same size as the last one, which was a little over half. So we got a little over a gallon of castings. Yeah, a lot more worms in here than there has been, which is interesting in these castings. So yeah, so I get the old castings out, put in the new stuff, let it hang out in the bin for a couple of weeks, basically get inoculated, and then I start to move the worms. I haven't done anything traditionally lately. Every time I talk about it, I'm like, how do I do it? It's been a long time since I feel like since I really traditionally harvested the bins the way I do. But yeah, so I'll take this material out and then wait to take the rest of it out. But it's always, I think, fun and kind of exciting to take the rest of it out, because then I feel like I have a complete bin. Because in the meantime, while the bin is getting used to the new stuff, basically saying I don't want to just take it all out, which people do and it works fine, but I just don't want to do that. I don't want to take it all out and add all new material. So I just do half at a time or whatever at a time. And so I don't feed in the old castings that I'm waiting, just a second, that I'm waiting to take out. So it's like so I always feel like the worms only have half a bin. And then once the material is all new material, then I feel like it's a free-for-all for everybody. All right, I'm not surprised to find more worms at the bottom, especially when we dug into this material. That's where it gets a little bit tricky, because I didn't actually officially harvest this bin. I really wanted to, well, okay, I should take that back. Clearly I didn't officially harvest this bin because we're harvesting. I mean the first half. So I'm talking about this as though the other half of the bin is, was harvested, and it wasn't. I just really I had new material. I wanted to add new material, and the old material, in terms of like stuff in it, food, if you will, was good to go. And for me, but it was really wet, and I wanted them to dry out more. So what I wound up doing was I wound up moving moving a lot or most of the material over this way, and it wasn't a very like official move, as in definitely a lot of older stuff got left behind. And really I can still kind of tell that this wall here is more older castings than not. But it's also, you see, the more I dig into that, the more worms appear. So I'm going to stop digging into that. But so I moved that stuff over and then added new material over there. I believe it was still fairly nice outside then. So I believe there was a lot of plant matter, if I recall. And yeah, but I'm still considering that side harvested. And once this new material that I'm about to add gets mixed in, or has been in here for a few weeks, and the bin is, sort of inoculated, as I call it, I'm going to go ahead and basically kind of mix it all together, so it's not this half and half thing. Well, obviously this is way more material than the last harvest, because this bucket, really I did mainly take off the driest stuff on top, and this 2-gallon bucket is almost full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it one more scoop. Like I said, I'm not, well, actually I don't think I want it to be this full, because I want to be able to, stir it around. Okay, so what I'm going to do, really it appears that, and this won't be bad for these castings that are overall really nice and, dry, because they're just going to continue to dry out, and I don't really want them to dry out, but yeah, so we'll pick out more worms next time. But yeah, 5-gallon bucket would have been, we would have done just fine with that. But also these are easier for me to manage because I can lift them up and set them in the bin like this. So I'm going to give this bin another scoop or two, or this bucket rather, and then we're done. Take the material out. See, yeah, there's a lot of worms. We'll, whatever worms are in here, they can kind of continue to break the material down. And again, I'll fish them out. In a warmer season, I don't really care as much. I have such a nice population of worms now that if they go out to the garden, it doesn't hurt me. And it certainly doesn't hurt them. Well, I mean, they still might like it more in here because they get all these goodies, but yeah, so, baby worm. That's that. So we've got about 4 gallons, maybe a little less than because the buckets aren't filled to the top, but about 4 gallons of castings that I think are pretty dang good. Excellent. Okay, now, so this stuff is fine with me. I always do leave a little bit because I feel like that helps get the new material ready. Okay, pardon me just a moment. We are going to start with a base of dry shredded paper. About a little bit more for good measure. And actually, I'll Don't have any dry mix already ready. Okay, we'll do it next time. Well, no, just a minute, please. Okay. Just going to put a little layer. Oh, this has got azomite, DE, neem cake, kelp, and maybe a little bit of oyster. I say a little bit because I think I ran out. I actually got some more, but I haven't mixed it up yet. Okay, next. Next up we have toilet paper rolls, hair. These are all wet. These have all been in water. Torn paper into strips. More toilet paper rolls. Okay. My desire is that that's wet enough. Wet enough to make the extra dry stuff underneath be happy. And just for good measure, because I really don't want that dry stuff to be too dry. And yeah, that's good. Just to kind of help usher things along is some parsley. I have a lot of parsley out in the garden, and this stuff was getting old in the refrigerator. Actually, I haven't checked on the parsley since the super freeze. Okay, now, what do I want to do here? I think I want to move sort of some of the drier topping over here. So it is sort of integrating the bin already, but not full on. I'm just kind of blanketing it. And the worms can decide to do what they want. All right. So I believe last time we fed, the Time for Pie was over here, and this bin is no longer in the Time for Pie series. Both it and bin 1 were done 6 days ago. So after, these are the pepper skins. So after 26 days, their pie was gone. I think these guys were first. Looking back at not the last video, but the one before that, on the 12th, they had less than bin 1. But yeah, so they're both out of the Time for Pie series. These guys, you see, the focus was to get them, get these old castings out. So now this bin, we're just gonna, we're gonna feed, and we're gonna try to, we'll come up with a cool new series for this bin. Because obviously they're not in the running for any sort of harvest anytime soon. It's pepper, mainly the skin. So let's fluff this up. See all our worm friends. Yeah, I'll think of a fun, or maybe not fun, but just nice. I might do a series. I might just keep caring for the bin and see where that takes us. All right, cool. Well, our main focus this time was, okay, this is where we fed. This is what we are most excited about looking at. Oh, wow. How did I miss you guys just being in this corner? Nice little pile of worms. And some mites. This is that pita that I decided to stick against the wall. This paper is kind of, it's not dry by any means, but it's barely moist. Which is a shocker for one of my bins, wouldn't you say? still, there's piles of worms. Smell some mold, no doubt that's from the pita. No, it's actually probably from the slightly on the drier side of this paper. So the worms 6 days later are absolutely into this feeding. It's not particularly warm by any means. I'll put some more paper down there. And there are worms. Oh yeah. All down in there. Oh yeah. Well, as per usual, this bin did not disappoint. Tons of yummy goodness going on. So that feeding is kind of all throughout there now. I'm not too worried about it. Oh, baby worm. Okie dokie. Well, let's put that residual pepper down under there. Cool. Cool. So this bin is now, I'm going to say, whole bin. We're finally no longer dealing with just one side. You might imagine that I'm very tempted by the fact that this paper over here was kind of not as wet as I'd like it to be, and given that this bin is not going to be moving towards harvest anytime soon. This water is kind of cold. Well, it may have been helped by adding paper to it. That's all I'm adding because I tend to overdo it, and I am going to finally give them a bubble mailer. And but that stuff was kind of dry. I know that food is breaking down, so it'll continue to give off moisture, but I'd rather it stay wetter right now. Okay, so finally, these guys get a bubble mailer. So next time, more than likely, I'm going to be like, ooh, it's kind of even more moist than I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to add more dry paper, and that's fine. And, well, oh, I know what I want to do. This is the old blanket, and we'll put that over the new side, and ultimately incorporate that into the bin. And I've always had this paper with DE on it. I don't think it does anything to anybody, but it's there and whatever. Okay. Awesome. Well, that was fun. Yay. Thanks so much for your time and your interest. If you are experiencing a hard time right now, whether it be from Hurricane Helene, from the fires in California, from a hard holiday season, whatever you're going through, I pray for you, and I hope that you have the support and the love that you need, and I hope you can find the resources that you need. And yeah, I'm praying for you. All right, take care. Be safe, be well. Bye for now.